Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, if you want to undo or overcome the emotional pain or emotional conflict in your life, then you need to investigate and understand what is emotional pain. That's the simple and straightforward approach to unentangle yourself from the emotional pain. Running away from the pain is not the solution. Running away from the pain is to prolong the emotional trauma. And spiritual enlightenment, spiritual freedom is about being free from the emotional game. Emotional game is simply the extended version of the mental game. Emotional game is simply the further game supported by the meanings, supported by the ingrained beliefs. And the emotional game is basically the sign of ego, the sign of fear. When the fear is there, there's the emotional quality comes in. The emotional engagement happens in life, within and outside. And that is already there, isn't it? We are a emotional being, emotional human being. And we are emotional human being because of our own experience. This experience of right and wrong because of the duality. From the beginning, the duality is ingrained in us because of our surrounding. Our surrounding is providing these references of right and wrong. And when life is moving in that way, we are being part of the environment. We naturally become that. And we are that. And because of the emotional entanglement, now we are in the conflict with the freedom. By the way, our freedom that we seek is the supported by the emotion, not recognizing that true freedom is about seeing the plain side, which is about dissolving or dismantling or disengaging from the mental, emotional, and psychological um, connection to see the plain side truth. All layers must be dismantled until nothing is left. And that's the way to see the plain sight truth. And the plain sight truth itself is who you are. Your true nature is the plain sight truth. The plain sight truth is the emptiness, consciousness. Consciousness is conscious and empty. So that is the freedom. That is resting in the consciousness as empty is disengagement from the emotional pain, emotional drama. If you look into your emotional pain, you will start to understand that the emotional pain is there because of the fear. When you understand your emotional pain, your conflict, you understand that holding on to the emotional drama You recognize that that itself is the ego self attached to the mental narratives, the emotional narratives. I know the ego doesn't want to hear. You don't want to hear that. Your emotional pain is the ego. You don't want to hear that. Especially when you're going through the pain, you don't want to hear that, isn't it? You don't want the message coming in your face that the reason to suffer emotionally and mentally is because of you, because of your ego. Who wants to hear this? When you hear this right now, when you're hearing it, you are already ignoring this video and jumping into another video to watch, isn't it? That's what the ego does. Ego doesn't want to be poked. Ego doesn't want to be pointed out that the ego is the reason that we are suffering. The mental, the emotional pain, the drama, the conflict is all sign of ego. Ego wants to prolong that emotional game. We know that playing the emotional game is the way to win the heart of others. It's a manipulating game. It's not the mindful game. Yes, life is about the game, but we don't have to be manipulative. We don't have to create an illusion for ourselves and others. Ego itself is illusion. And ego prolonging the game, the emotional game is further entanglement just to avoid the truth. Avoiding the truth is the way to suffer. The suffering is already there because truth is already missing. Even you are the truth. You don't know how to anchor in the truth. So what is there is the mental and emotional game. And we are already ingrained in the emotional game, and ignoring the emotional pain, emotional conflict, and diverting our focus to be in the now. Even we are present in the now and moving by being aware. That doesn't help. It feels like it's helping in the moment by ignoring the pain, but being in the moment, it's going to invite more layers in your mental and emotional layer, because now you moving anchor and moving in the now by adding the meaning in your life. And that meaning is what? The meaning is the emotional game. In life, you don't have to move with the meaning. You just have to be aware. Awareness is needed. And awareness is you. You need to be aware and move with awareness without uh, adding any mental, emotional meaning in your life. If you keep moving with the meaning in your life, there are always people who will have an upgraded meaning, and that upgraded meaning will point out in a way that your meaning is limited. And what's going to happen? Then there's a defensiveness comes in. And that defensiveness is what? Emotional entanglement. So if you ignore and be in the now and try to move forward, it's feels great in the beginning, but the fear never ends. The drama never ends. That's not the solution. So the real solution is, yes, you can be in the moment, but explore, investigate your emotional pain. If you don't want to entangle yourself in the future emotional pain, you look into your present emotional pain, your emotional conflict. You don't have to even label as an emotional conflict pain. Whatever experience that is happening in you as a friction, as a fight, as a pain, as a fear, investigate those things. That's the way to undo all mental pain and emotional pain in your life. So, today, what is the emotional pain that you are going through in you? What is that emotional pain? Whatever is that, you ask yourself, why am I feeling this emotional conflict in my life? Why am I experiencing this emotional pain in my life? Why am I experiencing the fear in my life? Why do I have this urge to fight with this person? These are all emotional pain, emotional drama, emotional conflict. So ask yourself, why am I experiencing this emotional conflict? This is the way to understand your emotional conflict. Why? Why is going to take you all the way to see the root cause of the emotional fluctuation that is happening in your life. You will see the root. When you see the root has to be dismantled as well. And dismantling the root is the way to empty yourself. And when you empty yourself through dismantling work, when you are thorough, then when you ask yourself, who am I? Then your who am I inquiry is going to click in you to see the plain sight truth. And only by seeing the plain sight truth, the ego gives up. Until the truth is seen, the truth the ego will never give up, and ego will continue to be part of the mental and emotional game. That means continue to go through that emotional and mental pain, conflict. So don't run away from your pain. Explore, investigate why the pain is there. And this way it will help you to be free. Inwardly free. And when you inwardly free from the dismantling work, that dismantling work makes you understand the mind, how the mind comes into existence and how the mind becomes real. And from that understanding, you will also understand the world. The world means the people that you'll engage in the future. If you don't understand yourself, you don't understand the world. So, understanding yourself thoroughly is freedom within and freedom outside. And that is enlightenment. Enlightenment is about seeing the plain sight truth, the truth that is not an idea, truth that is not the meaning, truth that's not a belief. So, how to see this truth? Undo the mind. Undo the mind. I hope this video makes sense to you. Thank you for watching. And by the way, I have this book published. It's called Unbecoming. Unbecoming all the mental, the emotional, psychological layers to see the truth of who you are. All right. I have shared the reference here, how to undo the mind in details. Basically, how to trace the mind to get to the truth of who you are. Anyway, Um, Thanks for watching again, and I will see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.